Alright YouTube, and welcome to a pretty exciting video today. This is going to be my quick recap of my day at Manchester Comic Con, where I was actually able to play some Borderlands 3. What's crazy is that this was actually my first Comic Con, and me and my girlfriend booked tickets a long time ago, before it was even announced that 2K were going to be there with the Borderlands booth. And honestly, I'm so glad that they were there, because the rest of the event turned out to be pretty damn underwhelming, and there wasn't a whole lot else to do apart from play some Borderlands, so it made the trip well worth it. Luckily for me, I was able to play through the whole demo 3 times. Once as Amara, once as Moze, and once as Zane. So I managed to get a little bit of a brief introduction into each Vault Hunter, so I kind of have an idea of what to expect on September the 13th when the game launches. But I will still be playing Flak first. I'm still waiting on that Flak gameplay, and it would be great to be able to go to Gamescom and play as Flak, but I can't see that happening. So before I get into the video, I want to quickly say that I was actually given one of these Psycho masks at the event, and they were giving them out to literally everyone. I already have one of these, as here in the UK we have a gaming retailer called Game, and when you pre-order Borderlands through Game, you actually receive one of these Psycho masks anyway. So for that reason, I was thinking of doing a giveaway of some sort if enough people are interested, if you haven't got your hands on one of these yet. I'm not sure how it's going to work yet, but yeah, if people are interested, I'll do it, so just stay tuned for potential updates on that. So on the screen during this video, there'll be a few clips of the Borderlands 3 booth for you guys to check out, and I'll also be including some sly gameplay that my girlfriend actually managed to grab of me when I was playing the game. She would have recorded better and longer videos, but the staff didn't really seem too pleased when people got their phones and cameras out inside the actual room where all the gaming setups were, but she did manage to capture a few little clips of me playing the game, so it's not all too bad. So first off, it took us an hour of waiting in the queue, which was pretty good considering how much of the game I actually ended up playing. We went to the second day of Comic Con, which was the Sunday, and on the Saturday I'd heard that people were queuing for probably about double that time. I asked a few people who went on the Saturday, so I had an idea of what to expect, and one guy on Twitter told me that he'd waited for about an hour and 40 minutes. The hour we spent queuing went pretty quickly. The guy in front of us and the guy behind us were pretty friendly and talkative and chatty, and we were just talking about games and Borderlands, and it definitely helped kill some time for us a little bit. The booth itself was actually really cool. At the front you had the big Borderlands 3 cover art display, and next to that there was a screen with all the trailers on it, such as the reveal trailer, the So Happy Together trailer, Borderlands cosplay video, loads of different stuff. And then at either side of the booth we had the Mural of Mayhem going all the way along, as you'll see in the footage, which was incredible to see in person at such a giant size like that, rather than just on your phone or on your laptop or something. There was also a bunch of great artwork on display from the 10 Years of Borderlands competition, and at the back of the booth where you come out from playing the demo, there was a huge lit up stained glass window of Troy and Tyrene, which you can also see in trailers and in the Mouthpiece demo. We also met some really great Borderlands cosplayers, and their outfit details were absolutely incredible. The guy who did Mordecai absolutely nailed it with the cowl on his head and the B-Team logo and everything. It was just really great to see that. I didn't get a picture with them myself because at this point I was a sweaty mess and I looked absolutely awful. The venue got pretty warm when it started filling up. Now I'm sure you've all been waiting for me to talk about what I thought of the game itself, so let's jump into that. Me and my girlfriend play Borderlands together sometimes. We completed Borderlands 2 and Tales, and she really likes the franchise just like I do. She queued with me and wanted to be able to sit next to me and play it too. She was a bit upset that we couldn't play co-op, so she wanted to at least sit by me so that I could help her out a little bit if she needed it. She queued for an hour with me, and when we got inside there were 20 computers hooked up with Xbox remotes, but there wasn't 2 computers that were free next to one another. She asked a staff member whether we could sit together, and the staff member responded with a blunt no, which was weird because we told them while we were queuing that we were a 2, assuming that we would get put together. So she didn't end up playing because she didn't want to play unless she could sit by me, as she's not the most experienced gamer. She ended up just standing at the side of me and watching me play, but I think she had a pretty good time anyway, and she managed to get these little clips of me. So when I loaded into the game, I chose to play as Amara first. For some reason I equipped the Phase Grasp skill instead of trying out something new like Phase Slam. Phase Grasp is literally the same as Maya's Siren ability, but I love Maya as a character, so I suppose that's why I ended up choosing it. My aim with the demo was to try out every single weapon I found, since the variety of guns in this game is absolutely insane. Every time I found a new gun, I'd switch it out and use it and try it out. Some ended up being trash, like I had a weird shotgun sniper hybrid that I used while playing as Amara, and it was doing virtually no damage to the enemies, and I ended up stuck with it when I got to the Mouthpiece battle at the end, which made him a little harder than he had to be on my first run. One thing I instantly noticed was the diversity of the enemies and their appearances. I love how different every enemy looks in the game, and that's because they actually have a randomized system for how the psychos and the the enemies will appear. They could have different skin tones, different hair colours, different hairstyles, different body markings and tattoos, and it's something that I noticed almost instantly when I started murdering them all, and it adds that extra layer of immersion to the world and made all 3 of my playthroughs feel slightly different. I will say right off the bat that one thing I was really impressed with was the voice actress for Tyreen. I think she did a really good job, and I find her character so incredibly interesting, and I'm so excited to see more of her when the game drops in September. We can hear her multiple times in the broadcasting station over the speakers and whatnot with her like, follow and obey line. But one thing I noticed when playing as Amara on my first run through is one of the psychos yelled at me, "Kill the false Siren," or something along those lines, which I find really interesting in terms of potential plot information and the type of influencing that Tyreen is having over her fanatics in regards to the other Sirens that are out there. I also like this because of the enemies commenting on which character we play as, which I believe is a new thing for Borderlands, but do correct me if I'm wrong down below. So when I got to the end of the demo as Amara where you fight Mouthpiece, I had pretty trashy guns. I had the weird shotgun sniper thing and a pretty weak SMG equipped. The shotgun weapon was quite interesting though, because it turned out to be a TDO guns with legs weapon, which I did thoroughly enjoy watching running around and running into enemies and stuff. It took me the longest amount of time to beat Mouthpiece when I played as Amara, and this could have been down to my crappy weapons I had and the fact that I couldn't phase grasp him, whereas with Zane and Moze I was able to use my action skill to actually damage him. I ended up loving the Mouthpiece fight, and I love the dynamics of it, how he uses the speakers in the arena to damage you, and you have to dodge out of the way of them and avoid them whilst trying to fight off Mouthpiece and his minions at the exact same time. It adds an extra layer of threat to the boss fight, and to be honest it's pretty much like the lava dynamic during the warrior fight, except this time done correctly. The lava was never necessarily that much of a threat, but the speakers most definitely are in comparison. So when you kill Mouthpiece and he spews out all of his loot, unfortunately you can't go and grab any of it because that's where the demo ends. You get a screen that says Mayhem is coming with the release date underneath, and then that's the end of the demo. It kind of sucks that you can't go and grab any of the loot because I wanted to see like what cool new weapons he drops. I saw multiple times that he dropped like blues and maybe a purple. No legendaries, but man, if he dropped a legendary and then I got the end screen, I'd have been so annoyed. So I'm not sure if I was meant to do this or not, but I did hear online that we were supposed to get 20 minutes of demo time to play with, and my Amara run must have only took about 10 minutes. So I hit the start button, I quit to the main menu, and then I loaded up Zane. I noticed that the guy sat to the right of me reached the end of the demo, beat Mouthpiece, got to the end screen and thought, that's it. So he got up and left. I'm not sure whether I was meant to do the same or not after beating Mouthpiece, but there were staff watching me and walking past, and none of them said a word as they saw me selecting different characters and playing the demo from start to finish 3 times over. So either it was allowed or the staff just didn't mind, I don't know, but I'm glad I did get to play as all 3 of them and do the whole demo. So when I jumped in as Zane, I had some pretty great guns, much better than what I had when I played as Amara. I had a burst fire pistol which dealt out a lot of damage, and pistols are my favourite weapons in Borderlands, so I was pretty happy about that because I didn't actually manage to find any while playing as Amara. I'm not sure what the weapon manufacturers were of any of the guns that I used. I was pretty overwhelmed with what was going on and forgot to even check. I didn't want to waste any time like fiddling around in the menus and stuff like that, because if we only had a 20-minute demo I just wanted to get into the game and start killing things, and I wanted to make sure that I had the time to play all 3 characters before I got booted out. So there was definitely some minor things that I did miss out on, like checking manufacturers and stuff. So it's a shame that I couldn't even record the gameplay or stream it to Twitch or something like that like people could at gaming conventions, because then I would be able to watch the footage back and actually see what the weapons were that I was using. So for Zane's skill I chose the drone. My girlfriend got pretty happy and said that she'll most likely play as Zane when we play together. She loves having robots and gadgets and stuff that can help you out and do some of the killing for you, which is why she loves to play as Gaige and Deathtrap in Borderlands 2. As I was playing as him, Zane really started to grow on me. His drone ability was great, and his charismatic Irish accent is something I want to hear more of. Before playing as Zane I really wasn't interested in him, but now I think he has took the number 2 spot for my favourite Borderlands 3 Vault Hunter. I'm very sorry Amara. I ended up annihilating Mouthpiece as Zane. I used a combination of the burst fire pistol, my drone and a green rarity Jacob sniper rifle that I found, which turned out to be absolutely incredible. I was headshotting Mouthpiece with it and his health was dropping like crazy. I've always loved Jacob's weapons in Borderlands series, and my first experience with them in Borderlands 3 was definitely a positive one, so I'm looking forward to using them a little more when the game drops. So once again I got to the end of the demo, I quit and and I quickly loaded up Moze. Now Moze is probably my least favourite out of the 4 Vault Hunters, and I'm not sure why. There's just something about the mech suit concept that I really don't like, and I felt exactly the same way when I played as her. I think I only jumped into the mech suit 3 times during the whole demo because the cooldown for it was absolutely insane. I accidentally picked double grenade launchers for the mech's weapons and I just rolled with it. It turned out to be quite fun to use after a while though. She spawned in with a really awesome shotgun. Again, I don't know the manufacturer, but it had a super fast reload, and this was the gun I used for pretty much the entirety of my Moze playthrough. At close range it was either a one-shot in or two-shot in enemies, and I had a lot of fun using it and popping enemies' heads off. Yeah, literally popping their heads off entirely. It was gruesome but really cool gore. At this point I felt like I was probably going over my 20-minute time allowance, so I basically sprinted all the way to Mouthpiece to take him on as Moze, and I must have murdered him in less than a minute with that insane shotgun. I got up close to him and continuously critted him in the head until he died. This time round he was a massive pushover, which was massively different to how he was the first fight when I played as Amara on my first run. Overall, I honestly had so much fun playing Borderlands 3 early, and I'm so glad that I got to have this experience. I realised afterwards that in my excitement and my urgent need to play as all 3 Vault Hunters, I totally forgot that mantling and sliding were a thing. I didn't use those features at all, and I did very little exploring, like wandering off the mission path to find secret stuff and chests. I pretty much just blazed my way through, picking up and trying out different guns and just having a great time killing things. But it really was an awesome experience, and I'm so glad that I got to do it. The Borderlands booth was absolutely beautiful. There was so much to look at. 2K did an amazing job with making this event special, and as always their marketing and promotions and everything for Borderlands 3 was absolutely spot on, and I can honestly say that I loved every second of it. After I finished playing Borderlands 3, I didn't know what to do with myself for the rest of the day. I felt like nothing could top it. I went to the American stand, bought some fruit punch Gatorade and sat down going over the experience in my head. I had such a great time, and I can't wait until September the 13th 10 times more than I already couldn't wait. The game is smooth, it plays and feels like a Borderlands game, the atmosphere that we know and love is there, the characters and enemies are diverse and interesting, the voice acting is incredible from what I've heard, just like with every other Borderlands title, and I just loved it. I love playing it and I'm so hyped for release. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience of playing Borderlands 3 early. This was actually the first UK open to public demo of the game, so I know there's probably a bunch of you guys out there who either couldn't make it to Manchester or haven't played the game yet, and I wanted to share my experience with you guys. Huge shout out to my girlfriend for taking the little clips of me button mashing while playing the game. You couldn't get much more footage than that, unfortunately, and it's a shame I couldn't stream it or capture the footage myself, but I can totally understand that since it wasn't actually a gaming convention. My girlfriend runs a blog and did a blog post about our whole day at Comic Con, so the least I can do for her queuing with me to play one of my favourite games as well as snapping those clips is drop a mention of her blog post in the video. I'll have a link down below to her Comic Con post so you guys can go check it out and have a read if you're interested, and have a look at what other stuff we got up to on our day. So yeah, that's going to be it guys. Thanks again as always for checking out the video, supporting the channel. Be sure to drop me a like if you enjoyed, and let me know down below whether or not you've got to play some Borderlands 3 yet, or even if you were at Comic Con yourself while I was there. I'm also curious to hear who your favourite new Vault Hunter is. I'm a Flak main all the way, but Zane has definitely started to grow on me, which I'm really shocked at. Please be sure to subscribe if you're new and enjoy this kind of content and Borderlands related videos. Thanks again guys, and I will see you in the next video.